organic, unpredictable, unknown, lovely, beautiful, a sense of fulfillment. This is part of the pleasures of life and not the chores of life.
Coming up on Daily Iowan TV, find out what City Council candidates had to say at a special forum.
Plus, we take a look at why more students are choosing to pay to work.
And in sports, we look ahead to Saturday's game. That and more is coming your way next. Daily Iowan TV starts now. Thanks for tuning in to your Thursday edition of Daily Iowan TV, your television news, sports, and weather source for the Daily Iowan. I'm Josh Bolander.
And I'm Dana Davidson. A 20-year-old woman was struck by a CAN bus outside the main library earlier this morning. The pedestrian was crossing the intersection of Madison and Washington Street when she was hit by a CAN bus traveling south. Witnesses said the police were bracing her neck waiting for an ambulance to arrive, but her immediate injuries were unknown. UI hospitals and Iowa City Police declined to comment on her condition and specific injuries, but witnesses say that she was favoring her leg and seemed to have a sustained head injury.
Yeah, she wasn't really moving a lot. Her eyes were kind of moving a little bit, but there wasn't really much consciousness going on with her. But from rumors and speculation, I've heard she only has a broken leg and maybe a concussion since her head did that damage to the windshield.
The Iowa City Police Department are still investigating the incident.
Students flocked to the IMU today for the semi-annual job and internship fair. However, some students might not be aware of the cost an internship can actually be. Daily Iowan TV's Jeff Shane tells us why sometimes you have to pay to get paid.
I'm here at the UI Job and Internship Fair, where hundreds of students will look for not only jobs, but most likely unpaid internships. Now in 2010, 80% of all college students graduated with at least one internship under their belt. This number is up significantly from that of just 17% in 1992. Is all the hard work really worth it? Well, I sat down with two UI students who just completed a summer of working for free to find out if the benefits outweighed the cost.
I just wasted a whole summer without getting any kind of income, and now I'm back at school and I have no money to spend.
Schneider, who interned for an independent baseball team in St. Paul, Minnesota, worked up to 9 hours a day, and on top of that would have to drive up to an hour to and from work in traffic. However, an hour may seem minuscule when looking at UI senior Melissa Curley's experience living and working in New York City.
They didn't pay for airfare, or even they didn't really advise us on where to look for apartments even, so we were sort of on our own.
Curley, who worked for an art auctioning house, had to move to the Big Apple for 2 months, living on her own and paying for it.
Generally, if you want to do anything social in New York, it's pricey.
However, both girls agree that all the hard work was ultimately worth it, and your future boss might agree. According to a recent poll, employers are more likely to hire students who have completed an internship. One student who attended the fair was well aware of everything an internship has to offer.
It's definitely worth the risk of not taking the money if you feel the opportunity at the internship will benefit you to get a job in the future.
With over 130 companies here at the UI today looking for future employees, students should take the opportunity when they can.
It's hands-on what people are going to do in the future without actually doing the job, so it's definitely something that everyone should consider at least once, even if it's unpaid.
Both Schneider and Curley say they would do another unpaid internship, but it wouldn't be their first choice. Jeff Shane, Daily Iowan TV.
If you're interested in a potential internship but missed today's fair, you can always stop by the Pomerantz Career Center for more information.
On Wednesday, the League of Women Voters of Johnson County held a special forum for candidates vying for spots on the Iowa City City Council. This year, there are 7 candidates running for 2 at-large seats. The candidates fielded questions and explained their different platforms. But the common theme that seemed to tie the candidates together was the emphasis on increasing cooperation between Iowa City and the surrounding communities like Coralville and North Liberty. Candidates also discussed safety issues, property values, and flood mitigation. And while voting is still a ways away, at least one attendee was satisfied with the potential counselors.
I'd like to see where the progress is going. Listening to all the candidates tonight, it seemed like they all have good ideas, and I look forward to seeing what they do.
Inconsistencies in witness testimony could shape the ongoing trial of a local teen charged with murder. Thursday, Rhonda Blewett testified in the trial of 19-year-old Charles Thompson, who is accused of killing John Versipt in 2009. But there were inconsistencies between her initial interview with police and what she stated when she was on the stand. In her first interview, Blewett claimed she heard a popping noise and saw just one man running across her lawn, but now she says she saw two. Thompson has maintained his innocence, and the trial will continue Friday.
A future in marketing may be closer than it seems for a select UI students. Daily Iowan TV's hardworking Jeff Shane takes a look at what it takes to be a campus liaison.
I just really like marketing things to people, like new products or new events.
Students who feel this way may have found the perfect job, as they are now working with companies as student liaisons from the university. Brands such as Victoria's Secret and American Eagle have capitalized on young people's ability to promote to their peers. Brianne Birch, who works as a PR marketer for Rent the Runway, a website that allows girls to rent designer dresses for cheap, says there are many methods to help promote the brand.
We also have a Twitter and a blog and a Facebook group, so we're trying to get as many likes, and then from there you're able to sign up.
These types of promotions are becoming increasingly popular on college campuses around the country. Google has a presence on about 100 campuses, and Victoria's Secret is represented on 54 campuses, including the UI. Birch says promoting to sororities is key.
So we'll go to each sorority and kind of be like, this is our spiel, this is Rent the Runway, and hopefully they'll rent for their semi-formals, formals, etc., like Rush.
In the future, Birch hopes to continue her passion with a career in marketing.
Just love a job that involves marketing, something that I'm passionate about, so Rent the Runway would be an awesome opportunity.
Founded in 2009, Rent the Runway is a New York City-based company, which now boasts over 1.2 million members and counting. While Birch doesn't get paid for her position at Rent the Runway, she knows the experience is what's valuable.
I know that by doing this, I'm gaining experience that I couldn't get in a class. And so by doing something I couldn't get in class, even if it's unpaid, it's rewarding and it's worth my time.
Birch is now working on a fashion show for Rent the Runway, set to occur on November 10th at the Library Bar in downtown Iowa City. Jeff Shane, Daily Iowan TV.
For more information about Rent the Runway, you can follow them on Twitter at twitter.com/RTR_Iowa. And now Daily Iowan TV's Adrienne Crossley joins us in the studio for a look at your local weather forecast. Adrienne?
Thanks, guys. Tomorrow during your morning rush, you can expect to see temperatures around 49 degrees with mostly cloudy skies. Later on into your afternoon, temperatures should get up to about 61 degrees with a bit of cloud cover. Into the evening hours, temperatures are expected to settle around 50 degrees with still mostly cloudy skies. Game day temperatures are looking cool with a high of 62 and a decent amount of cloud cover. On Sunday, you can expect to see a 40% chance of rain. Luckily, things will be getting better. We'll see a return to the temperatures in the 70s on Tuesday, and that should continue into the end of the week. That's your weather. Back to you at the news desk.
Thanks, Adrienne. And only with Daily Iowan TV can you get a sneak peek at Friday's pages of the Daily Iowan. Read about how the UI is trying to drive down costs on a new dormitory, plus find out what sets Johnson County apart when it comes to healthy living.
And now as we look ahead to the Hawks' next home game on Saturday, we bring you the best football coverage around in our weekly breakdown we call Daily Iowan Pregame.
Hey there, Jake Abrams, Chelsea Byrne. Thanks for stopping by for Week 4 of Daily Iowan TV Pregame. Well, the Hawks have won 2 in a row at home and look to go out perfect at Kinnick Stadium on Saturday when they play host Louisiana Monroe, then take a week off before Big Ten play.
And although it's the last non-conference game for the Hawks, Coach Kirk Ferentz is not looking ahead to Penn State quite yet. He's aware that this ULM team needs to be taken seriously.
They're a little bit different, a little bit unique compared to what we've played and at least recent memory. So we got some work to do there. And then on top of that, like I said, they got veteran players. And they're athletic players. They're very tough, very competitive, and so it's going to be. We got our work cut out for us that way.
Coming into camp this summer, the Black and Gold had concerns about what the receivers would look like to start the season. And 3 games in, the Hawks are happy with the pleasant surprise.
If there's been a real positive the last 2 weeks, I think our receiver group has really taken some positive steps forward. And, we knew Marvin was our only proven veteran player coming back. But it looks like right now you got a couple different levels going on. Keenan, the last 2 weeks, I think, has played, much better. And then, you know, Cavante surfacing too helps us, and hopefully more guys will join the crowd. But the whole group really caught the ball well in practice last week, so that's really encouraging.
2 weeks ago, Kirk Ferentz said this team looked like a bad junior high school team. But after the win last week, there's only one major difference.
We played better. I mean, it's about as simple as that. And, you know, hopefully this will be a learning process, just like when you go through it the other way. That's a learning process too. And, you know, we'll see what happens. But, you know, in 08, we broke the ice a little bit, or broke through a little bit in, you know, pretty dramatic fashion out in Kinnick, and maybe this will, you know, serve as an impetus too. I don't know. We'll see. Time will tell. It can't hurt. I know that. It felt good said.
After last week's huge comeback win over Pitt, the Black and Gold feel confident. And as Kirk Ferentz told us, they want to keep their feet on the gas pedal. QB James Vandenberg comes off a week where he earned national honors and was named the Big Ten Conference's Offensive Player of the Week.
Yeah, that's right. Vandenberg completed 31 of 48 passes for 399 yards. That's 7th best in Iowa record books. He also threw 3 touchdowns last week, also bringing one in the end zone himself. And after the game, he was also nominated for the Manning Award Player of the Week. A winner hasn't officially been announced yet, but voting for that award closed just about a half hour ago. And after last week's win against Pitt, players and Captain Kirk were awed by how well James kept his composure.
Came out, he led us. So that was just the key of the game. He came out and, you know, he led us to victory.
He always gives you that appearance, and I don't know what's going on. I'm not a mind reader, but he typically looks unflappable. And you know, you go back to the Ohio State game. That's how he appeared there, and the Minnesota game the next week, which was kind of like this one for a while. You know, there wasn't much going right. So that's always his demeanor. It's just how he is. And but you know, clearly things weren't going well, but he never came unglued and stayed positive and kept pushing, and you know, then things started moving well for us.
But the names Hawk fans weren't too familiar with before the season are quickly making a name for themselves. After missing the Iowa State game due to illness, Iowa's Jordan Bernstein has played very well in his first 2 games. Last week, the senior got his first career start, recording 5 solo stops, 2 tackles for loss, and a QB sack, finishing with 8 total tackles. Over the first 2 games, he has averaged 22.4 yards on 5 kickoff returns. Check out what his coach had to say about him after last week's win.
He's flying around at a tempo that we haven't seen from him. And yeah, I mentioned at the iClub breakfast yesterday morning, when I was here in the 80s, we had 3 guys that I coached that were in offensive line, but didn't start till their 5th years, and they all played in the NFL. One was a first-round pick, and I'm not saying Jordan is, but you know, guys all find their spot at different times. So that's 2 games now. It really looks like Jordan's really flying around. He's having fun, playing with enthusiasm.
Bernstein, along with redshirt freshman wide receiver Cavante Martin Manley, are quickly becoming fan favorites. Martin Manley had catches of 25 and 22 yards for touchdowns last week, scoring both touchdowns in Iowa's historic 4th quarter comeback over Pittsburgh. In the first 3 games, he has 8 receptions for 99 yards.
Now let's go back and look at some history to prepare for this game against the Warhawks. By looking at some matchup facts, well, this is the first time Iowa is playing a school from Louisiana since its win over LSU in the 2005 Capitol Bowl. Iowa is 2-0 against current members of the Sun Belt Conference, while ULM is 0-3 against the Big Ten. ULM may be 1-2, but those 2 losses came against, at the time, number 5 Florida State and number 23 TCU.
Now it's time to take a look at some current Hawks stats in the nation. Mike Meyer is tied for 6th in field goals per game with 2.3. Hawkeye linebacker Christian Kirksey is tied for 22nd in tackles with 10.3. And the man calling the plays, James Vandenberg, he's tied for 25th in total offense and is ranked 29th in passing offense. Micah Hyde has 2 interceptions, which ties him as 6th in college football.
On Saturday, the Black and Gold are encouraging that you wear green. It's already been 2 weeks since former UI safety Brett Greenwood collapsed during a workout. Since then, he has been in a medically induced coma.
Yeah, many students have already responded by purchasing green t-shirts to wear to Saturday's game. The Greenwood family sent out a statement earlier this week thanking all of the fans and community for their support.
When we talked to players earlier this week, we went in knowing they were competitive, but we didn't know how competitive they actually were with each other. Sean Prater gave us some insight into that. Micah Hyde and himself are competing to see who can finish the season with the most interceptions.
Yeah, they have a whole system planned out. A pick 6 is worth 3 points, And game-saving interception is worth 2 points, and just a regular interception is worth 1 point. So Sean, right now, who has the lead?
So he has 3 points, I have 3 since that pick six. So I gotta catch up.
If that tie changes after the game next week, and we'll be sure to keep you updated on that. And Chelsea, Prater told us that the loser has to buy the other person dinner. So Sean Prater said he's taking the loser to the most expensive restaurant he could find in Iowa City.
Well, that's going to do it for Daily Iowan TV pregame. We're out of time.
Thanks for tuning in. For a full recap on the game, tune into Daily Iowan TV on Sunday night.
He's Jake Abrams. I'm Chelsea Byrne. Have a great night.